Two-day continuous heavy rainfalls in the northern region has caused some communities in the Kumbugu district of the northern region to have a lot of challenges there. One of such community which got flooded after heavy rains is the Silibimboma community. People, houses and properties have been destroyed. Over 16 houses have been destroyed, with 6 completely collapsed.
A visually impaired woman, Mohammed Zainab, has lost all her belongings, including the 150 Ghana cedis she had struggled to save to pay for her daughter's fees. In a confused state, she tries to gather her thoughts to make sense. She says she's lost everything, including where to sleep and what to eat.
I don't know where to stay. The rain has destroyed everything. My daughter is a student and I raised 150 Ghana cedi. The water carried it away. She was supposed to have left for school tomorrow, but I can't raise that money again. We are appealing for help. We do not even have food to eat and no shelter.
A pregnant woman, Alhassan Salamatu, said she lost everything, an item she had gathered for her marriage ceremony. According to her, her husband was interested in helping rescue them instead of the items, and somebody picked the bag and emptied it.
When the flood occurred, my husband's focus was to rescue myself in the case. So he was able to carry us on his neck through the raging water to safety. As for our animals, the water carried it away. The bag containing my clothes, someone stole it. And even the clothes I'm wearing, it had been given to me by a kind person.
Given the extent of the disaster, the Member of Parliament for the Kumbungu constituency, Dr. Hamza Adams, has been touring some communities in the constituency. He attributed the floods to the construction of the Tolong-Belong Road. Dr. Hamza said government must resource the National Disaster Management Organization to be able to reach out to people in distress.
We have been told that the flooding has occurred as a result of the construction of the Kumbungu-Belong Road. During the construction, the contractor did not make enough drains. He did not create enough drains for water to pass through. So as a result of that, the water has been blocked, resulting in the flooding of the entire community. I want to believe that if actions or steps are not taken to attend to this, the resulting consequences will be very sad to talk about. So I want to appeal to highways. Highways must immediately call the contractor back to site. And I think one thing I said, and I want to stress, is that NADMO is not giving the needed resources. So government must take steps to provide resources to NADMO so that once they have the capacity to provide, I'm sure they will not have any excuse to drag their feet when the situation arises.
Martina Mugly, who did this report, has joined me live with more update. Martina, good morning to you. What more can you tell us about this particular incident? Hello, Martina.
Yes.
For example, we wish to know how the people whose houses have been destroyed are coping.
Now, these people, some have had to relocate to families, and those whose houses were partly destroyed are still staying in the destroyed structures, I should say. Most of them actually staying in these destroyed structures. Just a few have been able to patch with other family members who haven't been affected, but largely majority are still struggling in these structures. which means that if there's any heavy rain again, there's a possibility that we could have more collapsed structures, and that means their lives are in danger.
But the structures I saw were quite in a very bad state. How could they still be putting up in those structures?
Exactly so. They are in bad shape, but you know, somebody with a family of 20 cannot relocate to anyone's house. And there are no places in the area for them to relocate to. NADMO has not come in yet. And so they would have to make do with what they have now until NADMO comes in. We are told that the flooding was so serious that it was at neck level. And the pregnant woman said the husband had to put her on his neck to be able to go through the raging water. And the blind woman, we are told, she had to struggle with the daughter through the water to a safer ground. And so the people are really affected, and they are asking that NADMO come to their aid, or anyone who can help people should come to their aid.
So what have we heard from the NADMO as to when they will be going there, regional minister as well? Do we know this information?
Yesterday, whilst in the community, we saw a NADMO vehicle that had come in, but we don't know the state yet. We are yet to get any response from NADMO.
Interesting. Thank you so much. That's Martina Mugly, who is our Northern Regional Correspondent. Then two other stories. The Office of the Special Prosecutor says it has so far not been able to secure any convictions or acquittals in respect of cases it is handling. It has, however, been able to recover 1 million cedis to the state. This is contained in a half-year report published by the Office of the Special Prosecutor in accordance with the law. Section 3 of the Office of the Special Prosecutor Act 2017 Act 959 mandates the office to release a list of cases it is investigating and prosecuting. My colleague Joseph Akablay joins me with more. Joseph, what are the highlights of this half-year report the Office of the Special Prosecutor has released?
And so, yes, a key conclusion that it indicates is the fact that so far the office has not been able to make any convictions by way of matters that it has investigated and taken to courts. And so it first narrows down a bit on specific matters that it has investigated. And one of the issues that it points out has to do with the La Bianca scandal, which has been in the news in the last couple of weeks. The office indicates that it's one of its achievements by way of the first recovery by the office in the sum of 1 million cedis, 74,627 cedis. That is what it's been able to retrieve as a result of that investigation into the advance ruling or a waiver that was granted by the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority to a businesswoman who we know is a member of the Council of State who owns the La Bianca company. So that is the first one on that particular matter. The office now provides some details on other matters that it investigated and decided not to continue with the investigation. One of such cases involves a member of parliament, Samuel Atachian. The office indicates that sometime in July 2022, it terminated the investigations into a complaint of alleged financial malfeasance filed against the member of parliament with Waka South for lack of evidence. The complainant admitted that he filed a complaint without any basis and that he was paid to fabricate the content of the complaint against the member of parliament. And so that is a matter that has terminated. It also talks about Agri Plus Horizon Farms Limited. We are told that the Financial Intelligence Center informed the special prosecutor that the Ghana Cocoa Board sold the contract to Agri Plus Horizon Limited on the ground of nepotism and or trade-based money laundering. The OSP says it terminated the investigation for lack of evidence as well. There are some other matters that have seen a bit of prosecution, and some too at the level of ongoing investigation. And one such matter is the issue of the Airbus SE. You remember the Airbus scandal where Airbus, the international aerospace company, admitted to paying bribes to certain officials. Ghana was one of the countries named in there. We know that former special prosecutor Martina Mugly was investigating former President John Dramani Mahama and his brother Samuel Mahama, who he actually issued an Interpol red alert for his arrest. The special prosecutor says he's still investigating the matter and that the office is engaged with Interpol and the central authorities of the United Kingdom and United States under the mutual legal assistance regime. And so that is another matter that has been updated. We've received an update from the special prosecutor. On the banking and financial sector crisis, the OSP says it is still carrying out investigation into that particular matter. Then another case that he also touches on is recruitment of officers into the Ghana Police Academy. The Office of Special Prosecutor announced that investigation in March 2022, targeting specific cases of alleged corruption and corruption-related offenses of the use of office for profit, abuse of office, and abuse of power. We are told that that investigation is also ongoing. We know the one about the estate of Kojo Efriye, alias Sir John. We know that his assets were frozen by the special prosecutor. The prosecutor went over to the High Court with the intention of confirming that freezing order. We know that the court did not grant that, and the special prosecutor has since filed a notice of appeal at the Court of Appeal seeking to challenge that particular decision. And so that is also provided in this particular report.
All right. Thank you very much. Joseph Akable is my colleague joining us with details from that half-year report by the Office of the Special Prosecutor. Now, the Ghana Bar Association is defending the decisions of the General Legal Council to revise regulations for the upcoming entrance examination into the Ghana School of Law. Per the new guidelines, prospective students are required to sign an undertaking that bars them from requesting a remark of their papers and or a review of their marks. Although the new directives have been widely criticized, the president of the Ghana Bar Association retorted by saying that every examination has its own regulation. Yabuafo was speaking on the law on the JoyNews channel.
Examination bodies worldwide set their own rules. And when you...
But the rules must be fair.
Sometimes who determines fairness? Because you also have to look at the corresponding problem under IEC. I just drew your attention. You have 2,500 students writing an examination. And then I think there's a pass, about 900 or 1,000 people pass. This year the examination will be written 23rd September. The law school has its calendar. Just imagine you have 1,000 remarking scripts. Are we going to say that the law school should hold on till we go through those processes and then have delayed academic? Isn't the academic calendar, shouldn't they be set?
Engage more hands. That's what the problem, the solution is to that problem.
Yeah, but you can only engage more hands after the results have been published. So you see, the problem I'm trying to let you know is that people get very emotional. But I want you to know that we all know very well, a lot of powerful people, something. We are the only profession that gives people the right to change their career later in life. How many people can become doctors after 20 years or becoming lawyers or something? And I think that, yes, that makes our profession special.
Okay, let's take some questions, and when they come in, you should be able to explain even further.
And I just feel that the idea that I've just expressed a desire to be a lawyer doesn't mean I have to be a lawyer. When we were kids, all of us wanted to be Concord pilots or pilots. Our Ghana Airways is collapsed now. So expression of desire does not necessarily mean that there's a corresponding obligation to let your desire come to. People want to study law. There should be no blockade. But that doesn't mean that we should just say that, oh, let's open our arms and then everybody must come.
And meanwhile, the Ghana Bar Association says its deafening silence on some landmark judgment and cases before the court is because it does not wish to validate the position of any party. The association has come under public backlash over what some describe as abandoning its vanguard role of fighting against injustice and bad governance. Speaking on the law on the JoyNews channel, President of the GBA, Yabuafo, explains why the bar did not comment on the court's refusal to grant bail to the lead convener of the Fix the Country movement, Oliver Barker-Vormawor.
We have history. Has it that the military government metamorphosed into a political party. And just like in corporate takeover, the agreement can include taking over the liabilities and assets. And then the chairman of the military government for the decade that it was in power also became our first president. So, you know, the sort of like the linking the NDC versus PNDC becomes something semantics and metaphysics. So it carried over. So what you get is that if you were to ask most NDC people, since President Mills took office, whether the bar has treated them differently from an NPP government. You get the point? So if you look at it psychologically, the clear break for civilian who started with in 2001 when President Kojo took over. Because President Rawlings was our head of state during the military government, and he became our first president. So all the criticisms of his government, his style, carried over. That is why people will say that. But you have to understand that if you look at from 2001, this accusation started in President Kojo's era. But we forget that in democracies, institutions become a bit more stronger and people start behaving properly within the confines of the Constitution as the years go by. Those of us who were old enough to have voted in 2000, including you, how many people didn't even believe that there will be no peaceful transition? So I think that when there was a peaceful transition, people actually had this root Damascus Convention that our constitutional process is not some 9 day that has come to stay. President Kojo came, we had a criticism. When President Mills came after President Kojo, the bar singled him out. When President Mahama came after President Mills, the bar did not single him out.
That's the accusation, that you used to have press statements particularly, and also having your representatives speaking against some of the bad governance issues. But people say we don't see that as much.
Something that his government was joining the HIPIC initiative. The next time we saw the headline, GBA condemns government decision to join HIPIC. And there was fireworks at Sunani. Because the argument at the bar was that, look, this is a political decision which a government can take. It doesn't infringe any constitutional provisions. It's for the electorate to make a decision whether that decision was right. So I think that started governing us. Something, the things that divide us or are topical these days are primarily political matters. So for example, a government wants to implement the free SHS. Somebody says that it's a drain on the national purse. The GBA will not come in. Everybody can come in. 2, there are competing claims now, because now we have a lot of CSOs. They don't have the limits that we have. They can make comments on politics, on governance, on the whole. But there's something anybody's forgotten. The only time the GBA condemned a minister of state for actions that we thought was wrong is maybe Hama Kunsa, when she pulled a gun in the bar, condemned it. But you know one significant thing that I found out? When the statement went outside after Mr. Folsom, and my sister, Mrs. Jacobo, the national PR at that time, worked on a draft. We sent the item out, and we monitored, and it was not really topical in most news.
Now, former member of parliament for the Lower Manya Krobo constituency, Michael Teyauno, has accused some chiefs of fueling the feud between the resident and the electricity company of Ghana. The former legislator notes that the chiefs who were part of a delegation he led to meet the energy minister, Matthew Opoku Prempeh, to plead for the light to be restored to the 2 municipalities, returned to misinform the resident on the agreed modalities.
We met at the Ministry of Energy with the minister in charge, the Minister in charge of Energy, Matthew Opoku, Honorable Matthew Opoku. So, I mean, I was there, the Roman parish priest was there, the chairman for PTA, Parents Association of Manya Krobo Secondary School was there. And in fact, he's the boss of the National Board for Small Scale Industries as well. Then the chiefs, we have Nene Zogri there, we have Nene Dom there, we have Sakino there, and others, and some pastors. Then the Honorable Minister asked us our mission, and I was the spokesperson. So I told him that, as a matter of fact, we have come to his office to beg for the lights to be restored for us. And we are not begging that we know we are at fault. We are begging because we needed the lights. We needed the lights. But this thing was generated by ECG. But since we needed the light, and since we are the losing end, we are in his office to beg for light. He asked for the second mission. I said, well, the second one is in respect of the refinancing of the debt. And that Kobos, we don't have any, let me say, national wealth like gold or this thing, that will say that we are so rich. We're not so endowed. So they should reconsider that, and if it will be possible, then they should write off that debt up to December 2021. And let's start the whole new page from 2022 January. And we'll see how to talk about that as well. Well, We and ECG people were there too. Their managing director, Samahama, and the engineers and other people were there. So at that stage, then the minister said, okay, then we are more or less getting to an end of this crisis. And so we should form a 3-member committee to discuss the indebtedness with ECG. Then he went and we asked, what about the light? He said we should be given the light. That is, yesterday was Wednesday. A week to yesterday, I mean prior to yesterday. So last week, Wednesday, we'll get the light. ECG came out and said that some of their transformers were tampered with. Then the minister said, okay, if they have tampered with some of your transformers, go and restore the light where the transformers have not been tampered with. And then use the Thursday and Friday to put in shape those that have been tampered with. And then get the light by Friday. That was understanding. Then we got up and left. We left. Wednesday, the light wasn't on. So I called the MD, Mr. Samahama, and he told me that our people have shifted a post. That the chiefs who met them said that, one, they will not take the prepaid meter, and then they should be given 1 month to do education anywhere. So they said, how 1 month? Was it not too long? They said no. Okay, like I intimated from the beginning, is the overbilling. Then my people pick it up again and started extending it by saying that Kosomo dam that was constructed, no compensation was paid to the Krubos. And so they are demanding compensation. Some also even went to the extent to say that they saw documentation endorsed by Kwame Nkrumah, first president, that Krubos are not supposed to pay light. And then a lot of other things that I cannot even just add to it. So, in fact, what we did was myself, the municipal chief executive, and then the honorable member of parliament for the area, both Manya and Yilo, we met the groups at Ensign College at Bom.
Meanwhile, some residents of Yilo and Manya Krobo municipalities in the eastern region are urging the ECG to revert to the modalities it developed with the people as part of effort to halt the long-standing feud that has plunged the two municipalities into darkness for more than 2 weeks. According to the resident, attempt to set aside an agreed roadmap for a forceful installation of prepaid meters may not be successful. My colleague Edwin Kofisian visited the two municipalities and has come through with this report.
The usually busy atmosphere in Somenya, Odumase, Noaso, and other surrounding towns and villages is now relatively calm. From a distance, one could hear the humming sounds of portable generators and power plants. An indication that the ECG has indeed taken the two municipalities off the national grid. In the face of the disturbing situation, however, some traders are cashing in as the demand for generators is high.
Thank you very much. Currently, generator is on sale in Somanya. This third week has not been asked, the first and the second week.
There has been reports of plans by ECG to restore power, but residents are frustrated with the turn of events. They want power to be restored immediately.
So from the 27th until 8th, we're doing 5,000 cities every day. But for us to work, we will need the services of the light. Like I said, our system is fully automated. There's nothing we can do without light. But on Monday, you see, we couldn't provide the fuel to run the facility 24/7 again.
Dr. Eric Tamate Sikache, General Secretary of Klomahimbe, a youth group, tells JoyNews the residents are not against the move by the ECG to fix the problem, but they want them to adhere to the modalities agreed by the two parties.
First of all, I think ECG must restore power to the Krobo district of ECG, to the two municipalities, Yilo Krobo and Lower Manya Krobo. Upper Manya Krobo, they don't have this problem because they are under Eastern region when it comes to electricity distribution. Secondly, ECG must come back to the negotiation table. I am not against prepaid. I use prepaid in Accra. I have personally also requested for prepaid from the manager, Mr. Ochri, where I live in Krobo. We have requested for the prepaid. So this tells you that there are many people here who are okay with the prepaid, but there will also be people who may not want it now, and that should be understood, not just because they are resistant to change or they don't want to change, but because of what I have already told you, issues of overbilling, the suspicion that the accumulated bills will be, the prepaid will be used as a tool to micromanage those debts and all that. So ECG should revert to the modalities we co-develop with them. You see, to introduce the prepaid cautiously, and in phases.
The development queen of Odumase Krobo owns a preschool in Odumase and doubles as the human resource head of the Menya Krobo Rural Bank. Manye Amoko Yoko the First says her business, like all other enterprises, is reeling under what she describes as an uncomfortable condition.
In life, when you find yourself in situations, you have to see how best you can adjust, but it's not the best. There's nothing good to talk about here because the children, they are saying that when they go home, there's no light. They come here, there's heat, making photocopies, buying fuel to feed generators is a big problem. And everybody is experiencing it, and it's not the best for the land. It's not the best for the economy. It is not the best for Ghana. So the earlier we do something about it, the better.
Meanwhile, the MP for the Lower Menya Krobo constituency, Ebenezer Okelete Telabi, wants President Akufo-Addo to take personal interest in the resolution of the matter.
Please, for God's sake, His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, the people of Lower Manya, are suffering. It won't help anybody if it continues like this. And I can assure them that the people of Lower Manya are not saying that they will not pay electricity bill. After that, we've crossed that bridge. Long. The problem now is how do we collect the bills? They are suggesting prepaid. Our people are thinking otherwise. Let's sit down.
And we'll update you with any update that we do have. Now, the Ghana Association of Medical Laboratory Scientists have called on the Ghana Health Service to continue developing the capacity of COVID-19 testing laboratories across the country to help in the prompt tackling of the Marburg virus disease. The group says the success with which the country diagnosed and managed the 3 Marburg cases proves that if the laboratories are more resourced, the country will be in a better position to deal with any infectious disease outbreak in the future. But why this call at this time? Are there hints of danger confronting our laboratories? We've been joined on Zoom by the Public Relations Officer for the Ghana Association of Medical Laboratory Scientists, Dr. Dennis Edu Jesse. Thank you so much, Doc, for joining us. What are the state of our medical laboratories as we speak?
Thank you very much. So the labs, as we speak now, are in good position when it comes to molecular testing. But when specifically we are talking about Marburg, which is in the family of Ebola, which is the commonest group to remember and know for, a hemorrhagic fever, that one requires a certain level of biosafety, of containment. And we think that, yes, we did very well with COVID. We established a lot of the molecular testing platform. And looking at Marburg and other infectious diseases that will require some high level of biosafety, we think that we can upgrade some existing facilities, like the public health reference laboratories. We have one in Kumasi, we have one in the Western region, we have one in Northern Ghana, in Tamale. So that these ones will come and augment what Noguchi is currently doing. So that samples wouldn't have to be transported across the country all the way to Noguchi if we should not get out of the woods as we suffered. Now we've done very well, and I would say God has been good to us. The 3 cases did not spread further, and we are hoping that we are going to be declared as a country without the Marburg infection. But till then, are we sitting down and waiting for any untoward occurrence so that we will be laughing at the wrong side of our mouth? Let's upgrade, let's build capacity so that we can be able to handle some of these things with the speed that it requires.
But why mustn't their call be to protect the entry of Marburg into the country than to talk about how to manage it after it has entered?
I think that one is already happening, and in the release, we actually commended the Ghana Health Service, the Disease Surveillance Unit, with the efforts they've put in getting all the control strategies, which I think the global health community has even commended Ghana for. So in addition to that, we need speed to detect cases. We need speed to handle samples. We need speed to be able to isolate so that we prevent further spread, especially when it's already in the country. And that is what we stand for, because we don't want to burden one institution with the testing here in Noguchi alone. But the capacity we have to spread across, we can't establish all labs in the country to be testing for Marburg. That one is not feasible. But I think we can zone the country already in belts so that we establish the capacity along the various belts so that samples wouldn't have to always be transported to Noguchi, whilst we also firm up the borders to prevent further entry of other diseases. Mind you, it's not only Marburg. There are other infectious diseases that are lurking in our neighboring countries. And it's important we strengthen our capacity to be able to handle them because we are not out of it yet. It's not only COVID, Marburg has come. Others that probably we don't know of are likely to come in. And building capacity is the only way I think we can be able to fight a fight for.
Okay, thank you so much. Dr. Dennis Edu JC is the Public Relations Officer for the Ghana Association of Medical Laboratory Scientists. Now, authorities at the Wa Central Prison have bemoaned the inadequate medicine at the infirmary and training equipment for the inmate. The inadequacy of medicine has resulted in prison authorities unable to curb the outbreak of skin rashes at the prison. This came to light when the Narcotics Control Commission donated some drugs to the Wa Central Prison to help in the treatment of inmates who are falling sick in serving their prison term. JoyNews' Upper West correspondent Rafik Salam reports from Wa.
Among the myriad of challenges faced by the Wa Central Prison is the inadequate training equipment for the inmates. Here at the workshop of the inmates, there are 4 sewing machines, but only one is provided for and owned by the prison service. The rest of the 3 are for the master trainers. Inmates who wish to train as a tailor either has to bring his or her own sewing machine, or you queue and wait patiently for your turn in order to have access to one. Assistant Superintendent of Prison, ASP Joseph Pereko, is the Public Relations Officer of the Wa Central Prison.
We are supposed to also rehabilitate them, say that when they come out of prison, they become economically relevant in society. But unfortunately, we do not have the capacity to train them, to give them that kind of employable skills. So on this note, we are also appealing to the general public, individual, civil society organizations to also assist us in that regard by making donation in the form of training materials so that we should be able to train these inmates so that when they come out, like I indicated earlier, they will become economically relevant in society, and it will go a long way to reduce the burden of crime in society.
Another area of concern for prison authorities is the lack of drugs at the infirmary. Our camera spotted few drugs kept at the table for treatment of the over 190 inmates.
The infirmary is not well equipped, so mostly we deal with minor cases. When there is a case and it's beyond the capacity of the infirmary, the case is referred to the appropriate health facility for further medical attention, either at the regional hospital or the municipal hospital. But mostly it takes care of basic illnesses. Yes.
No wonder authorities are finding it difficult to contain the spread of the skin rashes, which is on the rise.
Skin infections in the yard, and it is affecting them. Looking at their sleeping place, their cells are congested, and when one is affected, it easily spreads through, and others also get infected. So it is a worrying situation, it's a worrying development, and it is affecting other inmates in the yard.
Prison authorities therefore welcome the donation of drugs by the Narcotics Control Commission to inmates to cure the skin rashes that they have been battling with. Isaac Bakuri is the Upper Regional Director of the Narcotics Control Commission.
When we went to the infirmary the other time, we realized that they do not have enough stock of drugs to provide healthcare for the inmates. This is the second bag that we are donating. And we want to assure you that as and when we are able to mobilize enough drugs, we make them available. And we also understand that there are some other challenges that for us, we are working on all those ones, and that when we are able to mobilize enough resources, we bring them to you.
Reporting for JoyNews, Rafik Salam. Wow!
News desk will take a quick break. When we return, we have latest from the world of business for you here. Stay with us.
Good morning, welcome to business. My name is Darryl Kwao. The Soil Research Institute of the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research is renewing efforts to make Ghana self-sufficient in the production of improved local rice. Over the past years, the research institute, in its quest to address Ghana's food insecurity, has introduced scientific soil management technologies to increase local rice yields. Speaking at his inaugural ceremony, the new director of the Soil Research Institute, Dr. Edward Yeboah, revealed the institute is set to implement a 5-year plan to enhance staff capacity and collaborate with stakeholders in designing a digitized soil map for the country. There's more in this report.
Oxford Business Group reports consumption of rice in Ghana outstrips domestic production, with 66% of rice consumed being imported. Although the local production of rice has increased over the last decade, Ghana imports more than $500 million rice annually, making it an insecure food commodity. Speaking at his inaugural ceremony, Director of the Soil Research Institute, Dr. Edward Yeboah, explained some challenges confronting local production of rice.
The challenge has been having the seed of rice that would actually be used to improve the yield. Again, the soil management practices that needs to go along with the seed. And that is what we've made huge progress with respect to coming out with site-specific fertilizer recommendation for rice and management technologies that are there to improve the rice yields.
The National Rice Development Strategy implemented under ex-President Kojo aimed at reversing the country's import dependence, but the initiative has since not realized its goals. The Soil Research Institute of the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research is consolidating efforts to expedite processes in making Ghana self-sufficient in rice production in the next 5 years.
We are building on the structures that have been put in place. We are currently looking at research and development as a 5-year development plan, how we will be able to build the capacity of scientists in terms of high-impact journals that they will write to, ability to attract funding, and be able to compete at the international level.
Dr. Edward Yeboah is also calling on the government to institute measures to facilitate technological advancements in the rice production chain.
Nigeria has been able to wean themselves from rice importation. Now they have sufficiency in rice production, and Ghana, we are able to do that. So now all that we need is to have the commitment and the enabling environment from government to ensure that the needed seed supply is in place. Quality seeds for the rice cultivation is in place. and then the fertilizer availability, water management strategies are all in place to ensure that we are able to win ourselves from rice importation.
For Joy Business, Emmanuel Bright Kweku reporting.
In other news, the sustainability of government's free senior high school policy will need concerted support from parent-teacher associations. The PTA of Anglo-Gold Ashanti School in Obuasi is hopeful such support will help reduce the financial burden on government to maintain the flagship educational program. There's more in this report.
The Parent-Teacher Association of Anglo-Gold Ashanti School has handed over a preschool play center project and a mechanized borehole to create a secure and conducive environment for pupils of AGA School. Financial Secretary of the PTA, Daniel Asari, urged to help reduce the free senior high school expenditure burden on the government. He believes parents' contributions will enhance quality education.
Government is doing very well with the implementation. But I believe that parents have a role to play. We can say, yes, we know government is doing well. Yes, we know the implementation is nice. Yes, we know the idea is good. But as parents, we want to contribute to ensure that it is well implemented and sustained. And that is one of the things that the AGA school did. I believe every Ghanaian now, if we all want to come together and say, yes, we want to support the government in its implementation of free HSS, by contributing our quota to it, Ghana education will be one of the best in Africa and the world as large.
Mr. Asari reiterated the association's commitment to support the growth of Anglo-Gold Ashanti School.
We are not only looking at the exam, we are getting the results that we want with our contribution to the school. But that is not the only thing. The holistic education that our kids are getting from this school is what is motivating us.
Anita Sewajuga's report, read to you.
The day's latest business news on our website, myjoyonline.com. My name is Daryl Kwao. The news continues after this break.
Welcome back from the break and to a rather sad story. An 8-year-old has drowned in a cesspit at Bamahu in the Wa municipality of the Upper West region. The cesspit was left open after the sewage was siphoned. The body of the 8-year-old girl, whose name has been given as Mafaza Abu, was retrieved from the cesspit but later pronounced dead at the Wa Municipal Hospital. JoyNews' Upper West Regional correspondent Trafiq Salam reports that there are several cesspits dotted in the municipality which are left uncovered.
Beautiful constructed compound house turned into a hostel for students of Simon Diedon Dombo University of Business and Integrated Development Studies now looks like a ghost town for a yesterday evening drowning of an 8-year-old at the cesspit.
Yesterday I was going out to buy water. So I heard a woman shouting, help, help. So I asked her what's the problem, but she couldn't talk. So I moved back and I saw her small boy. He was also crying. And the language, I don't understand their language. So I passed by the boy and I saw the water shaking. So I decided to check. So when I checked, I see that the girl was struggling. So I went back and called my friend for torchlight. It was around 7:30 that way. So the time I went there, I couldn't help. So I was shouting for help. The people came and we spent like 5 minutes. There was no help. So it's later that they suggested that they should bring ladder. And the time that they brought it was about 7 minutes later. So the time they took the girl, she was already died.
The suspect has been left open like this?
No, they came to drain it, so they broke the cover for it. Okay. And as you can see, there is a new cover being made. It wasn't dry, and it rained 2 days ago and the day before yesterday. And also yesterday to have done it rained massively, so it made the pit full again. So we had to wait till it dry before we place it on it.
The 8-year-old named Mafaza Abu is a daughter of the caretaker of the hostel who hails from Kulmasa in the Savannah region. The body was quickly moved to Kulmasa for burial under strict Islamic tradition. The funeral is currently underway at Kulmasa a level 100 student of SDD UBITS, Mohammed Jalaluddin, was part of the team who retrieved the lifeless body of the 8-year-old from the cesspit. He now has nightmares.
How do you feel holding a baby with feces?
Well, I was scared, but there was nothing I could do. It's someone's life, and I should have done something about it. So it was very scary.
So what was happening to you?
Well, I just kept thinking about it, like the flashes of how it happened and what we went through when we went to the hospital and all that. It wasn't something normal.
Just some few meters away from where the ugly incident occurred is another suspect, which is still under construction but left open. In the one municipality, there are several of these suspects that are left open, which is a danger to society.
Because where there's no, they have to put measures in place. Like they've opened this one for about 3 weeks now. And it's dangerous to the residents around here because there are some other small girls and the place too, even if you are walking in the darkness, you won't see and you can easily fall into it. So we are pleading that now they are having biofilm digester and other stuff. And if they will do such things, they have to maybe put some fence on it so that it will protect some of us around here. Because when you are walking at the midnight, it's too dangerous for us.
Mafa, as is affectionately called, is being described as brilliant, respectful, and obedient by neighbors who they will miss. Life surely won't be same again for the family and the community. Reporting for JoyNews, Rafik Salam. Wah.
And on that very sad note, we wrap today's bulletin. There's more news on myjoyonline.com. My name is Samuel Kojo. Brace to enjoy the rest of our programs. Have a great morning.